I had a very, very important day in my life, and it was August 15th in 1978. So I was 34 years old, and I was both divorced and bankrupt on the same day. And I didn't plan it that way. It just, the timing worked out. And I make jokes about it now because it's funny, it's funny 40 years later, but it wasn't funny at the time. I got the divorce in the morning, and the papers were signed. And then the bankruptcy, that was basically because of receivables. I was coaching one-on-one in those days. All of a sudden I hit a period where instead of paying in 30 days, clients were paying in 60 days and sometimes 90 days. And I just ran out of cash. But I want to tell you, in many ways, I think this is the second most important day of my entire life. Okay, and I'm not including birth there because most people make a joke about that. I take birth as a given, I'm here. But the reason why it's so important, I'll tell you what the single most important day is, but the second most important day is the day that I had these two failures, and I treat them really as failures, and I kind of treat them as really, really bad report cards, like I flunked the course for a relationship, and I flunked the course for, being an entrepreneur and actually having a viable business. And I can remember very clearly the 3 or 4 months after August, I had this feeling that how I handled that day and these two experiences was going to determine the quality and the success for the rest of my life. Okay, just very, very clear feeling. So in some ways, there was enormously more clarity in my thinking about the importance of what I'd just been through afterwards than I had ever had in my life before that day. And I said the reason why both of those happened is because I was really stupid and that I wasn't learning the right things about having a marriage and a lifetime relationship with someone. I hadn't learned the proper approach to that. I didn't have the right mindsets. I didn't have the right capabilities. And the same thing goes for actually having my own business. And what I mean when I say that is that I relieved every single other person who may have been involved in either of those two situations from all responsibility. I said, if I'm going to learn anything from these two situations that turns out really positive, that really represents a breakthrough, I have to take 100% responsibility, and they're off the hook. So, in regard to my, wife that I had just divorced, she wasn't responsible for this. So I couldn't blame her for anything, because if you're blaming, you don't have the power to actually do something to improve. And I said that regardless of what bad thing happens to you, you have to take 100% responsibility for the go forward, because otherwise you're giving your power away to something that you have no control over. So I brought back all the responsibility. The big thing about this was I decided that it had taken me a long time learning how to fail. And I just said probably it took me 25 years to learn how to fail in my marriage, and it probably took me 25 years. I don't know why I came up with 25, but 25 was it, which means that I was around 9 years old. And I said, so the reason why I'm failing happened from bad mindsets and bad habits and insufficient skills that I developed over the last 25 years. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give myself 25 years to turn this around. So by the time I'm 59, I will have completely transformed these two experiences into totally successful ways of being married and totally successful ways of being an entrepreneur. And I think it was that resolve in 1978 to take 100% responsibility for the two failures, which has led to two incredible successes. One of them, the Strategic Coach Company, the Strategic Coach Program with our wonderful team, our wonderful coaches, and our wonderful clients. And the other one, which is actually the single most important day in my life, which was August 13th, so almost the same calendar day, but it was August 13th, 1982, when I first met Babs. And that began just a marvelous, wonderful business relationship and life relationship with Babs. So it's very, very important for me to stress that when bad things happen to you, you can turn them into the most important days, most important events of your life. And this was certainly the case for me, of being both divorced and bankrupt on the same day, on August 15th, 1978.